problem. Yeah. Sorry, it's my first time on this platform. It's a bit. I'm so sorry for.
It's okay, don't worry. I can see it's connecting.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Okay, now everyone should see us. Welcome, and we'll start. Perfect. Thank you. And I'll let Alex first introduce yourself and your startup. Thank you.
Awesome. So yes, I'm Alex. I'm from Estonia currently, and originally. It's a long story, but I'm representing ARN, which is a startup. Basically, we make an app that creates interactive adventures with augmented reality, and we've been working on it for over a year, and already released the MVP, which is a minimum viable product, and it's just testing, improving, and iterating. I have several startups, one in legal tech, which has already launched in the Baltics and Poland, and we are also launching in Serbia, Croatia, Finland, and in the Netherlands this year, hopefully at the end of this year. And that one is the fastest moving startup I've ever had. So this is me. Thank you so much, and I'll be happy to.
Wow, thank you for such a great introduction. I'm already wanting to ask you so many questions based on that. Thank you. Yeah, Evgeniy, Åsmund, feel free to jump in.
Yeah, Daria, hi, pleasure to be here. And yeah, Alexander, thanks for mentioning your legal tech. So I think, Åsmund, we need to be careful with our words if we have this guy in our panel. Yeah, actually, my name is Yudin. I am founder of Casers. I'm from Ukraine and right now in Kiev originally. So we've been working on our product last 3 years. And so the product was to help big companies to conduct and manage case competition. And our big idea was to make collaboration between universities and big companies and to help big companies to conduct and manage case competition and to find the best talent. We've been working with big corporates such as Deloitte, KPMG, Mars, Unilever, and many, many others. But since the COVID started, we decided, so every company decided to shut down their activity, and currently we are pivoting. So I can share a lot of information how to pivot your team, how to pivot your startup, and how to start building your startup from zero again. It's quite interesting journey. Yeah, and also we took part in Startup Wise Guys business acceleration program. So I'll be happy to share my experience from Startup Accelerator.
Thank you so much, Evgeniy. It's great to see you and hear you. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, my name is Åsmund. I'm currently a student at the same school as Dasha, and the school hosting this event, GEM. And I built a media app for mountaineering in outdoor sports. We got 500 registered users, but the project is currently on standby and waiting to see what my next step is.
Thank you, Åsmund. So right now we're having Alexander from Estonia, who lived in the UK, Evgeniy from Ukraine, Åsmund from Norway, studying in France. That's quite international. I love it. And thank you all for your introductions. Speaking of the audience, feel free to drop your questions in the chat or in the question section. And maybe we'll ask them directly, or we'll have a Q&A session at the end. So right now, how we're gonna do this, I'll have the questions for you, and you'll answer, just jump in if you want to answer this, or like one by one, whoever wants first, second, and third. First question, I'm curious, why did you choose the industry that you're in? Were there, like, what were the motivations or insights? Why exactly that industry? Is that your passion? Is that connected to your education?
As you can see by my sunburned face, I like being outdoors, especially now in ski season. And with two friends, we actually made this app, and it started so that we all moved to different places in the world. And therefore, we needed new friends to do the activities we wanted to do with. and we didn't find any social media or app or web page which was satisfying for our needs. So we decided, okay, we see a product which lacks in the markets, let's just build it. And as simple as that, we just started doing coding. Half a year later, we had a working application, and that's basically how we started.
Great. Yeah. Seeing the problem, finding a solution.
Yeah,
like
and
that
I think,
approach.
for those who in the audience who think about finding something to start, if you start something which you are very interested in yourself, you have a better chance of succeeding, because then you will know what the customer wants, and you will have more passion into the product, which I think is essential for success.
Great. Yeah. Thank you, Åsmund.
Actually, from my side, I had the same experience that when I was a student, I faced the same problem that in my university we had a lot of theoretical part and we don't have a lot of practice. So we decided, come on, let's find some practice, and we decided to bring some company and ask them, okay, guys, please, can you share some challenges, and which we will try to figure out something. Yeah, and so it was the first step how we coming into this case competition ecosystem. Yeah, so it was the first step. But you know, then so right now we are piloting, and currently our new product is focusing for publishers, and we want to build a software that will help big publisher, for example, Harvard Business Publishing or Ivy Publishing or Oxford Publishing, whatever, to upgrade their PDF document into the new interactive case study simulation. So to be honest, I don't have personal problem with that, but based on our experience, we trying to go deeply for this ecosystem and for this field, and we had like a period of time when we discover all of this area, and we find a lot of pain and gain, and then we understand what we need to do. So I think it can work both of its approach. So you can go from your personal pain and to fix it, or you can use some product validation tools in order to understand how this field works and find a perfect solution for your audience.
Thank you, Evgeniy. Actually, as a business student, I can assure you that having interactive business cases would be so cool instead of these old PDF files that were actually in place like for 30 years already. So that's amazing. Yeah, Alexander, welcome on.
Awesome. So I do something that I don't recommend anyone do, which is run several startups at once. So actually, yeah, it's very ineffective. So what happens is you end up focusing on either one or two. So like some startups lag behind because you can't dedicate as much time to them. But thankfully, the two ones that I'm going to talk about are the ones that are doing very well. So one is the ARN, which is the interactive quests or walks with augmented reality. So basically, I came back to Estonia, and I came back to my city of birth, Narva. And I don't know whether any of you have seen old towns of some places like Tallinn, which is Estonia, or Latvia. The Tallinn's old town is a UNESCO heritage site. It's beautiful, it's old, it's medieval. Now, we had one of those in Narva until the Second World War destroyed it. Well, it's not so much that the Second World War destroyed it, is that the government at that time decided not to rebuild it. Simple as that. We needed housing, so rebuild the old town or just build houses. So they just built houses, and we have like one a town hall left and like two other buildings. Basically, it's a sad story. So I said, what can I do to attract more tourists to this place? And of course, Narva is a beautiful city. We have a castle that is facing another castle on the Russian side, and there's a river dividing them. So we are on the border. Imagine castle, river, castle, and they're like so close together. So, but
Alexander, I have been in Narva last year. Yeah, it's super excited, and these two castles and this river, yeah, it's really a super cool place.
It's really awesome. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, please come back. Yeah. So, but how can I solve this problem of our city? And then I realized, like, yeah, I can probably help solve this problem with tourism and rebuilding this old town. But I can't rebuild the old town. I don't have billions. So create an app which will give the tourists the same experience, but with augmented reality. So just take your camera, point it at a place, and then whoa, that's how it looked. So this is how it started, from passion, from the love of my city. Now the other legal tech startup is basically a friend came to me and he said, I have this problem. I have this idea and I think it's awesome. And I'm like, well, you may think it's awesome, but that's not unfortunately how the world works. You may make a product that's awesome until the point where people start using it and they're like, well, either A, they'll realize that it's not awesome, or two, they will not use it because the problem only exists for you. So basically, I did a whole bunch of research. I guided him through the process of like how everything works, and then I realized, oh, this problem is real, and the alternative solutions are not as good, or they almost don't exist. And then this is where what happened. Yeah, I'm not big on legal tech. I wasn't, at least up until now, and now I am. This is how it happens. So ADHD.
Amazing. Well, I'm just curious, how do you keep up with running two startups? Like, do you have half of the day for one or half of the day for other, or week for one, week for other, or is it all?
Thankfully, it's two different teams that are kind of like more or less autonomous. I just need to like, give some guidance, especially with the tour tech or tourist tech, travel tech. There you go. I got it. The travel tech one, the augmented reality. But with this, the second one, the legal tech, a lot more hands-on because I need to help with the front end, with the user experience design, with the user interface design, and the business strategy. I need to help a lot more. With the other one, like I've done all that. This one came later, so the guys are doing the work, and I'm helping them when I can. But here, this is how you do it. You can't run two startups full time at the same time. It's too much. First of all, two separate teams, and at least do it. Start one, then in a year start another one. If you want to do that. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thank you for that.
Looks like, sorry, Daria, but Alexander, I disagree with you, but looks like this guy from US, his name is Elon Musk, looks like he can he can run even more startups.
He has a lot of money. That's the resources that not everyone possesses, like his amount of money. If I had as much money as him, I'd hire like some top-level CEO to run my stuff, why not? But I understand, because he needs to be a leader, and it is possible. I mean, I have 4 startups in total. One is like something I started in 2005, and that's still going. I launched it. It's going in the background. I haven't developed anything new for it. It's basically apps for kids. I have some apps in the pipeline. I recently started finding the new team to keep it going. Then there's another edtech startup, which is like project-based, more or less. We organize like entrepreneurship camps for kids, and that is, thankfully, it's not a full-time. It's like something happens once a month, once every few months, and then there's these two. So it is possible. If you're not ADHD as me, like if basically some people need this, like lots of things happening. And I need it. If I don't do lots of things, I end up wasting my time, like watching YouTube or something. So I need to be busy. So maybe Elon Musk is the same. I don't know. I'm not saying I'm Elon Musk.
Well, but there we can find some similarity right there, like with 4 startups.
Yeah, I mean that's about it. I wish I had a Tesla at least.
I'm sure it's all ahead.
Yeah.
What an advice for audience, how not to be scared to start? Maybe like a personal story, or just like kind of like, where did you take motivation at the very beginning, or actually the courage to start? Because for many people, it sounds already like, scary, like, oh, starting something, like creating a startup. Yeah, like what was different in your situation for all of you?
I think it's down to like it's case by case. Every person is different, of course. So I think no one piece of advice will help, but failing is super important. So first thing you need to do is love to fail. So don't go in like to fail, but enjoy the process of failing. And I've learned to make mistakes, and I learned to love to make mistakes. So I learned to make mistakes well, and learn to love to make mistakes. And just anything you do, you have to see what experience you gain from it. This is what you need to do. I think you should understand that whatever you start will give you so much experience, but it's down to you to pull that experience out. Because if you do something, then you fail, and you're like, oh, I failed and I don't care, I'm angry, I'm not gonna, look, forget everything. Like, you're not learning. Like, calm down, understand, analyze, why did you do this, why did you do that, what can you do better next time? So everything is a learning process, and go into a new thing with that mindset. That's it.
Yeah, I agree with Alexander. And we need to recognize that what's the worst that can happen if you launch a startup? It's you lose some time and maybe a bit of money, but it doesn't make your life anything worse. It is a learning experience, but so the downside is limited and the upside is unlimited. Just look at Elon Musk and what he's able to do. And I think it's like that rational optimism, as I like to call it, which motivates me to do startups. That if you are achieving what you want to achieve, you can do so much. I like to say that a startup is a conspiracy against the consensus, so that society is now a set of the best ideas ever made up. And if you think you have a better idea than those which are now, you probably do. Then just apply it and see if you're able to succeed. And if you're not, then just get over it and go back at it again.
Wow, I love it. I love that quote. Thank you.
To be honest, guys, I'd like to disagree with you, because fucking shit, guys, you need to be scared, because entrepreneurship and startup, it's not funny. Every time you can observe like a founders, they smile every time, but they smile not because they're happy. They smile just because they're super crazy. And entrepreneurship, it's every time, it's stress, it's really hard. Every time you need to figure out what you do next, how you can pay salary for your team, and so on and so on. So first of all, you need to be scared, and then it's not necessary to choose the path to go as an entrepreneur. There are a lot of happy people, there are a lot of successful people who can choose not to build their own startup, but choose some company and bring value as an employee or just as a individual specialist. So it's totally okay, but you need to be sure that if you jump in, you can get it and you can make it. So if you're scary, so come on, just it's not a good time, probably.
Yeah, I could even see how to combine your questions, like go ahead with positive attitude and like hope for success, but be okay if it's a fail and see it as an experience.
Of course,
right? Like
definitely.
Bring it all together.
Definitely. I've been doing public speaking for a very long time. I've taught. I was a teacher for many years, and listen, like every time I go for pitching or for like speaking in front of public, I sweat like crazy. Like I'm scared every time. So like, even though I may appear confident, like in times, like I'm scared. I mean, trying something new, I'm not really scared unless it's like involves like screwing a lot of people over if I fail. That's a scary thing. So once you have a team and the team relies on you, and you make them follow you, yeah, like you don't want to screw people over. Like be honest with yourself. First of all, can you actually handle it? Do you have time? Are you interested enough? You know, and all of this. This is very important.
Yeah.
And one thing we didn't mention yet is find someone to do it with. Find a team. Try to
Exactly.
And then regarding that, I think if you wouldn't work with someone for a lifetime, don't work with them for a single day. Because the problem issue we had in one of my startups was that we hired a developer who did a fantastic job, but when he started the project, said that I can only work until a certain time. And when that certain time came, we didn't have a developer anymore. So try to play long-term games with long-term people if you want to succeed in startups.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, really great. It actually flows to the question that I was wanting to ask you about actually team and how do you choose team members? Yeah, so Åsmund, you actually answered beforehand. That's cool. Yeah. Alexander, go ahead if you...
How do I choose team members?
Yeah, like how did you choose your team members or maybe co-founders or employees?
So like in the first startup that did fail, and there's actually a question there from Natalia about like what is the greatest failure of experience. In terms of startups, the greatest failure is this one edtech startup that I had, and I chose a great team. Everyone was awesome, like, and everyone that was in my startup I knew. They were awesome people, like friends, like so much experience, people that I've met through business. Like everyone was excited and wanted to join. I had a team of 9 people. The funny thing is I understood that I mismanaged it. I did a terrible thing in the beginning. So I told everyone, look, don't worry, because I didn't know how to entice people. They were interested by the idea, but it's like everyone has full-time jobs. So what I said was, don't worry, I will let you know when it's time to start. Like, don't do anything. Let's just sign this agreement, this NDA, and then I'll come back to you when I have something ready, when I have something to start with. So like basically I ended up doing everyone's job in the beginning because I didn't want to lose the people. So I ended up doing everyone's job. I did the business, I did the developing, the front end, I did the marketing, I did the design. I started doing literally absolutely everything and networking at the same time. And I could have delegated this because the team was excited by what we were doing. And I was just too scared to lose them, basically. And that led to the total collapse of everything because I couldn't handle it. I was literally doing absolutely everything. And yeah, and also doing lots of research and stuff. Yes, so that led to the failure. But this is how I chose my team then. Now, in the latest startup, the team choice was a little bit different. First of all, now I had a business partner who I'm working closely with, and we used our connections, or mostly actually for his connections. He was really fast. We interviewed people. So we looked at people he had in his like LinkedIn, and we said, okay, let's pick a few developers and see who would want to join the startup. So we messaged them, then we met with them, we interviewed them as if it was a job. Of course, it is a job, and only then we picked them. Like the people we picked, he said they're good people to work with because he's worked with them before. So don't pick random people. Don't pick people you haven't worked with or in some way, either you studied with or you actually worked with in a workplace. If you don't know the person, that's going to be a bit difficult. Yeah.
Okay, so you'd recommend actually personal connections or maybe connections of the connections with recommendations.
Yeah, absolutely. Very important.
Perfect. Evgeniy, how did you develop your team, or what was the strategy you used?
Actually, I think there is 3 main points. The first one is people need to have a skill set to do the job that you need to do. The second part is they need to fit your culture in you as a founder, in culture in your team. And the third part, they need to believe in your idea. And I think the synergy of 3 of these points is very, very important. But for sure, you need to pick people who can really work in the startup. Because, for example, if these people have a lot of experience in corporates, in some businesses, and so on, so they, it will be a lot of risk, because in startup, every time we have some overloads and we need to put a lot of time, energy for this, and sometimes the team needs to spend much more time and energy compared to classical job, for example, in company, and so on and so on. Yeah, and it's very, very important. You need to understand, is this person can be used like if this person can really work in the startup field when you need to run very fast and to put a lot of energy here.
Yeah, thank you. You said actually 3 great tips, but how did you make sure that those 3 are met? Was it through interview? Was it through reference? Or how did you make sure that the person is qualified for these 3 tips? Like skills and values?
It's just I can choose this it. So it's my right as a founder, and I want to. It's just you can feel it, but for sure you need to have some time, and usually we have some case or something like this. Okay, if you will use this job, so what you can do? Can you please prepare your recommendation, or can you please prepare something how you can deal with it? And yeah, so we use some cases, and the first test period, it's every time working. So you need to like 1 week, 2 weeks, maybe 1 month, whatever, just to understand how you can cooperate with these people.
Thank you. Great. Yeah, just like trial period, something like that. Perfect.
Yeah, that's one thing. Sorry, that's definitely one thing I would recommend. Like, you have a startup, and say you already registered the company and you have 100% of the company. Sign an options agreement, but of course with a trial period. Don't sign an options agreement that gives people percent in your company. Like, set conditions. Like, if you fulfill these conditions, then you get a certain percent. Then you get another percent. Like, don't give the shares of your company immediately away. Have a trial period, yeah, and definitely, that's it. Yeah, definitely trial periods is important.
Yeah, great suggestion. I haven't ever actually thought of it doing like it, this way, like these conditions, this percentage, and so on. Thank you for the questions in the chat. We might come back to them like at Q&A session at the very end, when you audience will just ask as many questions or what's interesting for you specifically.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you. Let's see. Is there any advice you would give yourself at the beginning that you already now know, but when you were starting, maybe your first startup, you had no idea?
Yeah, I'd say maybe don't get that caught up in details, because you will be working with so much different stuff that you can't spend a lot of time on small stuff. And the same comes to when you do decisions in the startup. You don't need to have perfect information to take every decision. As Adi wrote in the comment, you can fail fast, not even with the whole project, but with small pieces of the project. Try to iterate, try something new. And yeah, sprint really, just move fastly in the startup.
Perfect. Thank you. Any other advices, or you'd all say just the detail?
For example, you don't need a logo to sell. You need a product. Spend time on the product, not on the logo.
Great one.
Yeah, I agree. Detail, like rough and dirty. This is how it needs to be done in the beginning. It's like in the beginning of this legal tech, because the team was not so experienced in the startup world, or how to get money quickly, how to get the product, the product, how do you say, how to find the market fit for the product. It's like there was a lot of talk about detail, like, oh, we need to do this, this needs to be perfect, that needs to be perfect. I'm like, guys, literally, we are wasting so much time. And like, I would disappear for a day because like I had oh, not, let's say no day, let's say 3 days, because I had something to do and I could not be like online. And I would come back and there's so much stuff has changed and like decisions have been made that would waste everyone's time. So and it's all like small little details. And my business partner is like, we need to do this, we need to fix this, but this is so important. But like the client will see this and they'll be like, but like, who's the client? Where is the client? There are 0 clients. Who are you talking with? Like, look, do the ugly, quick thing. Yeah, let the client use it. Let like 10 people use it. Get some feedback at least. Like, we'll see what the user experience is like. We don't even know whether the people will use the product. You know, it's a waste of time. So quick and dirty, and then iterate. Many changes, many versions. Version 1, 2, 3, 100. It's normal. It's good.
I totally agree with Alexander, but in general, my advice for me would be like, don't do it. Because to be honest, I think I start too early, because I was a student when I just started the first business, and I didn't have a chance to work with the big numbers. For example, like what about 1 million, 10 million, 30 million? What is? To be honest, when you're a student, it's pretty hard to understand. So everything that you can handle, it's some small, like a first client, some first deal, just super small money. And but for example, if you came in some big company, for example, in 1-2 years, you already can handle in some big deals, and you can be in touch with some big numbers, and it really can help you, can show you some boost, and you will understand some big numbers. So my big piece of advice, just guys, first of all, you need to be sure that you are ready to start and you already had enough skills and big overview of the market. If you are just a startup, if you are just a student and you think, oh yeah, it's super funny, I will be a founder, don't do it, please.
Okay, so you'd suggest digging the field, yeah.
I would so strongly disagree with Evgeniy. I just say do it. To go crazy. I mean, you'll fail and then you'll learn a lot of lessons. I mean, if you'll make a mistake, if you went into something and you made loads of mistakes, you will remember those mistakes. I think like it's okay. It's all right.
Yeah, I agree with both actually, because yeah, just do it. But at the same time,
don't do it, but do it.
But at the same time, you have to think big enough if you want to do a startup. If I take a personal experience with the startup I had with a friend before the social media, we were reselling a product, and first time I had a client meeting, I met the client and I gave her the price list for 2,000 units, this price, 3,000 this price, 5,000 this price, and then the client asks like, okay, what price do we get if we want to buy 40,000 units? And I was like, I don't know. And it ended up with someone else invested 500,000 into the same industry. So we were thinking too small and we lost because we couldn't compete. So it's I think that when you first do startup, try to do it as big as you possibly can. But it's never too early to start.
Amazing. I love how you all have like different points, but they add up to the whole big picture.
But what if you get lucky? What if you get like, look, my first startup, like I'm just saying, I know you can make it perfect from the beginning and you can aim big. Oh, I mean, always aim big. What's the point of doing something if you don't aim big? It makes sense. But my first startup was in 2005 when I was a student and I didn't know what startups were. So started making apps. Basically, the motivation was money. And then I was kind of, oh, I have these skills. I can animate, I can create an app, kind of, maybe I can create an app. So anyway, it ended up with me not knowing much about making apps, to making an app in 3 days. and getting so much feedback, some good feedback. Like it was extremely positive. So I was like, okay, it can't be so easy. And then the next app, made the next app even more feedback and more downloads, and got featured in the Guardian, which is like a big newspaper in the UK, like top apps for kids, like in the actual newspaper and online. Like that was crazy. And this download skyrocketed, and I didn't know what the hell was happening. All I knew was like, oh, I'm doing something right. And then someone contacted me from China, some tablet manufacturer, and they said, we want your apps on our tablets. And I'm like, okay. Of course, I'd never dealt with such high numbers, and they're like, we want to prepay for 100,000 units of like each app. And I'm like, okay, I guess I'll give you like 50% discount of whatever the price is, and then I'll give you this app. This app is free on the App Store, so you can have it for free. But that was stupid, because you should charge a licensing fee. Like they pay anyway. Doesn't matter. Like always charge people money if it's a business customer. Like I gave away basically 2 apps for free. Now it's on their tablet for free. But anyway, I got paid for the others, and it was like crazy money. And then another network contacted us. We want your apps on Samsung kids, Verizon tablets, and libraries across the US. And I'm like, what the hell is happening? Like, look, what I'm saying is, you can do a lot of detail, a lot of research, and it's good to do that. But if you get stuck in that, then you might miss out on a lot, and miss out on either failing or doing something really good or doing something mediocre. But you'll never know. Don't seek for perfection, whether it's in research before you start the startup or during working on the startup, because perfection is very subjective and you'll never reach it. Basically, that's the point.
Wow, thank you so much for these inspirational insights and stories. Yeah, I was also curious, how did you build an app in 3 days, if I heard that correctly?
So basically, I guess I'm a lazy person, right? Like, not lazy in a bad way, but lazy. I want shortcuts. I don't want to spend a lot of time doing something when I can do it quickly. So I knew how to use Adobe Flash. And I heard, so this is what me at the time, I heard that you could kind of like use Adobe Flash and export it as an app. So I started researching. Yeah, it was in there. It was easy. So I learned some basic ActionScript. And ActionScript is like JavaScript, only like not as good. And it was literally, this was the key component to my app. On click, go to and play. That was it. It was like on click, go into and play. On click, go into and play, and stop. And then on click, go into and play and stop. This was the base of my whole app. But that's all it needed to do. Someone clicks, and then the animation plays, and then it stops. And then click, next animation plays. And you can like make the whole screen full of animations that you can click on. It's a kid's app, you know, it's simple. So I basically used this. I designed, I produced the sound, the music, because I knew how to play the piano a little bit. I used my MIDI synthesizer, you know, to do it. And that's how I did it. Basically, I used my minimum amount of skills that I had, and like just somehow build a very simple app. It looked really good, but it was very simple. Looking back at it, it was so simple. But this is the point. I'm looking back at it and I was like, how did I get away with this? But people loved it. People loved it. You know, that's the crazy thing.
Thank you. Wow. I think let's give a chance for the audience to ask questions, because we have like 13 minutes left, so I can see some in the chat. And everyone present, feel free to drop the questions, maybe general one to everyone or specifically to someone. So let's see. There was a question from Natalia. One we answered. Another one. Really exciting critical moments, friends being afraid to lose them, not engaging them, and therefore enabling them to disconnect and not see value in them. What was the commitment of the sport? Did the 9 people invest into the business? Okay, yeah, that was a question I think for Alex. If for the startup where you've easily found 9 people, were you all like shareholders or not? And question for everyone, would you involve your friends in the startup or not? And why not?
I signed like options agreements with these people, like, and I gave someone 3%, 5%. You know, like I didn't know how to give percent. You know, it's like it seemed like a little bit like five. What's 5%? And then you can't go to a person and also so say you give your friend 5%, and then they're like, why so little? Like you have 100%, you're giving me 5. So like you feel bad, like, oh, I should give a little bit more. So I gave someone 7%, and so I didn't know how the startup world works. But what I found out that you know, you need to give a lot of percent to the investors, you know, because in the beginning it's your shares may seem like a little bit, but once your startup is worth like 10 million, that 7%, you know, that's not a little bit. So what was it? So I gave people options agreement percent basically to join the startup, and they invested time. Some of them invested time. Like the designer did a little bit. He did the mock-up of the platform, but like very little. Like I didn't want him to do too much. Again, not afraid to lose them. And then the business consultant with like so much experience that that joined us gave a little bit of a consultation. But then again, I was afraid to use too much time. You know, I can't ask her for too much time because she's worth like 500 a day. You know, 500 pounds a day. So I can't take up so much time. It's too expensive. So people did invest their time. And my business partner, like the closest person I worked with, kind of invested some money, as in like for the hosting and all this stuff. It was not a lot at all. But yeah, that's what happened.
Thank you. What would you say, Åsmund, Evgeniy, involving friends or not? Which side?
I've been doing that in actually all 3 startups I've been working with, and there are upsides and downsides. But if you're good enough friends, you're able to stay friends no matter what happens to the project. Because honestly, friendship is more important than business, isn't it? But if you're launching something with a friend, do it because of their skill set and not because they're friends of you. Because like for the startup itself, if you wanted to succeed, you should be a bit cynical and find who is the best people fit to work with me in this project. Not like who are my friends who I would enjoy working with.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, really, guys, you need to be really careful with this, because, for example, if you are a friend, so it can be quite hard to you just to say, come on, friend, it's a bullshit. you need to change it, or please give me some another example or whatever. Just so first of all, you need to check the skill set, and so my recommendation is not to use the friends, and only you can try with friends, but for sure you need to have a trial period. But for example, in my case, I had both of situations. In my first startup, I ran with my good friend, but since that startup, we didn't talk again. But with the second one, I found my co-founder, and first of all, we became a partner. But then right now already we are the best friend, and it's pretty cool. But first thing first.
It actually works both ways. Like you can become best friends with a partner, or that's
100% agree with Evgeniy.
Let's take this last question. What were your growth aspirations for the startup, and have they been realized according to the plan? Like, for example, and like about scaling, just maybe shortly. And unfortunately, we'll need to end soon to be in time. But it's a pleasure. This conversation is just like you're all adding on to the pie from different sides. I think it's amazing.
Let's say with the latest one, it's been under a year, 7 months, and it's for me it's doing much better than I thought it would, and mostly because the team is so motivated and the team like really believes in the product. That was super important. The team is super experienced. They have their jobs and they're very well-paid jobs, but they're still like putting in a lot of hours because they really believe in the product. So it's gone even better than I expected. I thought we'd release like a very, very rough MVP. If it was down to me, then we would. But we released like a very, very good MVP that was like, to me, it's like almost a full product. Of course it's not, but like it's much more of a full product than what I expected it to be. And yes, and I didn't expect to be all across the Baltics and Poland in just 6 months, and already have agreements in place to scale to other countries. Of course, we don't have resources, the money to scale, but we are looking for investors, so we will.
Amazing, amazing. What about you, Åsmund? Evgeniy, did your plans meet or like took place, or did it all change? Or
well, let's talk about scaling because Muntis, our app, is social media, and social media is very hard because you need you're fighting as a small or a new media. You're fighting against the power of network effects, and what we found out or guessed is that we need 10,000 users for it to be going by itself, and that's 10,000 users we then need to get in one push. And the first time we pushed that, we got 500, which is not bad. 500 users sounds like a lot, but if you only have 500 users to social media, the social media isn't that valuable in itself.
Yeah.
So what we realized is that we need to like try to just launch it once again, and then we need to do the scale up with also spending on marketing, because the first time we didn't spend any on marketing. We just tried to use our network and extended network. So that's where we are now, trying to do like a second launch, and that will be interesting to try.
Great. Thank you, Åsmund. Yeah, and we'll end with Evgeniy.
Actually, I think it really depends on the market and on the product. And for example, if I'm not mistaken, so Alexander and Åsmund, the guys, you have a B2C products, yeah? And in B2C products, it's okay, it can be a normal time. So for example, in my field, I'm working with B2B. So I have a lot of, I need to spend a lot of time cooperation with some corporates or some publishers, whatever. And it really depends on the stage. So if you already have a proof of concept, then probably you can have some normal plan and milestones. But before proof of concept, it's like it's not necessary to even spend some time to planning something. All you need to have a list of hypotheses. So, okay, I need to check this. Okay, I need to validate this. And you can do it in 1 day, 1 hour, or sometimes it took maybe 2 weeks just to find something. So it really depends on this period of time. But as a founder, first of all, you need to understand your runaway. So this is the main point, runaway, and the milestone, what you need to achieve.
Thank you so much, Evgeniy, and everyone. Unfortunately, we really need to end because the next session is starting in a couple of minutes. Here, it was a big pleasure to have this discussion with you. I'm sure the participants took away some great tips and examples. Like, thank you for this inspiration. And actually, feel free to join tomorrow for the Meeting Village, where you can go further and meet others and discuss as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yeah, thank you
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
The audience.
Have a nice day. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye. You too.
Goodbye.